Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up-and-coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? We are back with Lego Masters, believe it or not. We don't have a Lego Masters Season 3, Episode 1 here in the United States because we were not able to get elimination interviews, but hopefully we can adjust that as soon as we have an ability to potentially take out the first two interviewees that were eliminated in the first episode. We will drop that episode, but as of right now, until we can, we will not. Anyway, so let's talk about Lego Masters Season 3, Episode 2. Their goal, the episode was based around simply, dinosaurs. Jurassic World, to be specific, more specific, Jurassic World Dominion. It incorporated many of the sets that are currently available to buy. Many of the dinos, many of the minifigs. If you had an opportunity to go back and watch it a second or a third time. You can see the minifigs that are available, and they were used in the builds. Tell me this isn't something that is branding, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So we have a bunch of individuals and teams that are going to really just try and reach out and do what they can to survive. That's what this show is about, is surviving until the end. What can you do to be better than the person next to you so that you don't have to go home? Well, in this case, Fox came forth and was like, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do something where there's explosives with things. Which, okay, cool. Something that's been done before, not anything new. But these were more CG related. And I have my qualms about this at the moment. And I was really not impressed. I mean, it was sparkler style of things that were shooting out, and then things that weren't shooting out were overlaid by a flame coming up after in post-production, which, it's kind of cheesy. So let's talk about the builds here. Emily and Liam, they are the mother and son combination here. They did a Mosasaurus that was sticking out of the water. The build was not that bad. I actually liked the build. I thought it was pretty cool. And they had a Pteranodon flying through the mouth. Something we have seen in Jurassic World. It's not anything new. It's kind of cliche at this point in time. However, the Mosasaur also crashes into a houseboat, which I thought was kind of cool. It's not bad. The build was actually pretty neat, just to, shake things up. I thought their build was actually really neat. It wasn't that bad. I thought it could have been way worse. But the Mosasaur mouth and the Mosasaur head, all that, the entire, from the neck up of the Mosasaur, I thought was actually pretty good. Now, Tom Jurassic may look at this and be like, what? No, sir. But I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't bad. Considering it is a mock, it wasn't all that bad. So Nick and Stacy were up next. Nick, most of you may know already, which is Brick and Nick. And him and Stacy, they were building, a Triceratops, and, it had gone haywire to crash into this and that. The builds of their humans and their Triceratops were really good. I don't think they were top worthy, but I think they were probably top 3 worthy. I thought the builds were really good. I do like the way they turned out. They're brick built figures of each of themselves. And then the trike, I thought the trike build was probably better than any dinosaur that I saw on this episode, honestly. Their main building actually looked good as well. So I'm really kind of, surprised that they didn't finish higher than what they did. Again, sparklers are shooting out. Oh, look at the sparklers. Oh my God. For what? You have a cool build. You have the things. It's just kind of dumb. Then we have Aziza and Eddie. They are siblings, by the way. And they had this story coming in where, they're, at the time, I think it was a 6-year-old sibling sister, was Jurassic Park. Oh, Jurassic. Well, what they chose to do here is, now, and I'm not saying their story's fake or anything like that. But what they chose to do is they took a really bad looking white and pink dinosaur. Eyes lit up. That was cool. Very average minifigure locale. So if you were going to think of a really bad minifig vignette, that's what it was. It was like a floor and that was it. And you just had sporadic minifigs just scattered all over the place. And it didn't really fit into the story. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, what are we looking at here? And, you just you look at everything as a whole and you're like, what are we looking at? What am I supposed to be focusing my attention on? And is it your build of your dino? It looked like something out of a bad Godzilla movie. Honestly, it just really didn't work very well. Then we move on to the next pair. Carrie and Patrick, they are the old dudes. They are the grandpas, literally in the show here. And I'm gonna say this, okay? I'm gonna say this flat out. Coming into this episode, my first question, and I know how this is gonna sound: how are these dudes still around? How are they still around? I'm not trying to knock them, but oh my goodness. Okay, the building process has surpassed them. It has. We're not stacking bricks on top of plates anymore. You've got to be better than that. Their build wasn't horrible, but to me, honestly, going through this episode as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is going to be bottom 2. Flat out, this has got to be bottom 2. They had orchards, they had baby dinosaurs, which is fine. Their orchards didn't look bad. They're tiny. They're kind of non-detailed. They're very kind of average dinosaurs. You're getting stuff that you gotta give Fox, like, hey, they've got a handshake deal with, Universal or something like that. There's something there because Chris Pratt was featured in the show. So there's a handshake deal somewhere. You need to show so many of the dinosaurs. I'm sure that's something. But anyway, so you get back to the orchards and the baby dinosaurs and stuff like that. And to me, I'm like, well, maybe if you're 4 or 5, you might find this interesting. I mean, in 3rd grade, I did a, wheat field build where we were talking about, different parts of the United States, and we had a combine. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And I have very much a similarity to that. And I'm like, this should not be in here. This should not be in Lego Masters. It just should not. Anyway, moving on, we have Liz and Aaron. Liz and Aaron, they did the food truck fiasco. And they had the special effect, the TNT, boom, boom, boom. At best. A meh at best. The truck builds, look, this is not an episode of, I'm trying to be so negative. But comparing this to the last 2 seasons, I'm sorry. Where are we with this show here in the United States? I've seen, many of them around the globe. We are not there. The United States version is not there. Their truck builds look like something from like a late 1970s build of a Lego vehicle model. Early 80s vehicle build model where there's no studs on the side. Everything is just stack the whole way up. Both the vehicles. I was not a fan at all. Again, this is my opinion. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the minimal footage that Fox is showing of actual builds because this is a show. It's supposed to captivate and flash and all that. We'll get to that later. But I only saw dinos and trucks. What else was there for their build? Seriously, what else is there? What else were you supposed to put on it? You had to have had something else. Absolutely should have had something else. So then we move on to Brendan and Greg. The Brontosaurus crossed the road? What? How is that a thing? Their build was actually really nice of their dinosaur. Special effect, it's just whatever. Okay. You saw other special effect that captured motion and stuff like that, but it just didn't quite work. And something funny that I had mentioned in my notes here, that Jamie said, quote, the build was built at an angle and had to keep spinning and adjusting. Where, Jamie? I went back and watched this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times? Where did the build adjust? In the microsecond I'm supposed to capture? In a frame by frame? Where? I didn't see it. So we move on to John and Xavier. They built a truck and pteranodons. Well, there wasn't much else. That's pretty much it. Some people built, buildings as a background scape and stuff like that. The truck, however, was better than what we talked about earlier with the late 1970s trucks, 1980s trucks. They were much better. The gas station knockdown. Okay, here's my question. So they had a trolley, a tram, whatever you want to call it, that rolled across tracks. And then when the explosion, quote unquote, happened, the tram or trolley fell down on top of the gas station roof at the pumps and knocked it over. I'm going to go with luck. I am absolutely going to go with luck on that one. I don't think that was 100% thought out. Like, if it hits this corner, it's going to do this. So here's the thing. If it was rehearsed, cool. But Lego never does Lego things when it's rehearsed. It never follows through with what it's supposed to be. If it was luck, you really got lucky. Here's the other thing that I want to mention about this with their build. Fox's editing was really, really bad on this. You know what I got to see? Maybe if I'm lucky, 2 seconds of the build and the explosion, or I should say the tram or trolley falling, and then seeing the orange flames pop up and stuff like that. I couldn't even see anything happening. I went back and watched it again multiple times. I'm trying to look at different, see what happened. It's almost impossible. Then we get into Steven and Steven. Yeah. Yep. We're there. Absolutely, we're there. We're walking down the road of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or one of those game shows that it eventually falls into the precipice of garbage. Come on, Fox. Y'all can do better than this. It's too early to do this. Their Brontosaurus build. Man, it looked like something out of a Duplo catalog. It was bland. It didn't have any texture. It didn't have any color. It wasn't very good. It could have been way better. And comparing, again, I'm looking at this season in comparison to the last 2 seasons here in the United States. Zach and his brother last year destroyed it. Texture, color, motion, function, everything, story. What am I supposed to do with this? Just didn't work right. Their movement didn't work. Okay, that's already a knock on you. You put fire around the build. Oh, look, it's so pretty. That's to capture the 9-year-old watching the show. And I realize they may or may not consider AFOLs in their, editing process. I'm pretty sure they don't, in the way that they handle things, because everything's flash, 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 flash. It's like an ADD overload for those of us that struggle. I have to take extreme focus times 10 to be able to watch the show. But my question is, what exactly in this build is impressive? What? The dinosaur didn't look very good. And here's the thing of, the judges. Judges always leave comments. They might say this or that. And I was with Amy on this. Amy said she was not a fan of the dinosaur. Neither was I. It was bland. It was boring. It didn't have any texture. The color was lacking. What'd you have? 5 colors in your color palette and you chose the 2 most boring colors? Come on, guys. Stop it. Then we move on to Dave and Emily. Dave and Emily, they did a motorized car heading toward a standard Dino T-Rex that you can buy in any of the Jurassic World sets. Color variation, whatever. But you can. If I'm not mistaken, they used one that comes in the 4+ set. The green and the brown. Gotta have more than that, right? You gotta have more than that. They had a few buildings in the background, which was good. You need that. You need to have some kind of backdrop, for if you were going to put a camera down low and take the shot, you need to have that. So I appreciate that. But they weren't anything special. They were just backdrop buildings. Austin and Justin. Pterodactyl that they created knocks over a pump and gas explodes. Imagine where the function comes into play from Fox. The incendiary boom, right? Standard, expected, whatever. I like the builds all around it though. They had good terrain, good buildings. They weren't amazing, but they were good. I'd put them in average to above average, but they were good. I liked what they did. Their story, okay. It's not bad. I like the story. Doesn't really fit into, everything else. But again, I had to go back and watch this many, many, many times. Thank you, Fox, for all the poor communication toward my eyes where I could not focus and see because it was literally ba-boom, gone, ba-boom, gone. Ridiculous. Christine and Michelle. This is interesting to me. The build looked like something from Minecraft. Okay, they had yes, they did have something that was built up, and they had talked about this. The judges had talked about it. Oh, the build up. Da-da-da. They did have something that was taller. It was taller and then it was flat. And there wasn't much else there. It literally looked like something from Minecraft. I spend my days around children that do nothing but play Minecraft in the evening. This looked like Minecraft. You had a flying dino that is supposed to knock out the lights. Cool. Yeah, that's fine. But the build, was less than great in comparison to some of the others. If we were going to qualify a bottom 3, this would be on the bottom 3. There wasn't a whole lot of texture. Oh, but it was lifted. It was built up. Great. It was flat beyond that. You had a few plates here and there to add some elevation. Okay, maybe the other teams didn't think about it. You did better than them. Fine. Build still wasn't that good. They did have a Mexican flag in the background, heritage for both of them. And I don't hate it at all. I think it was a nice homage to their lineage. I thought that was kind of neat. But then Jamie said they threw in some power functions. Where? Where did they throw in power functions? Jamie apparently saw it. You know who didn't see it? The 1.4 million people watching it. That's it. 1.4 million. In a country that has over 365 million people. And in Canada, I don't even know the population because a lot of these people on here were Canadians. You have 2 Mexican heritage folks on here. Who knows what that was? And you only drew 1.4 million? Man. And again, I can't see things in 1.5 seconds of a clip. That needs fixed. And I'm sure they have all the episodes in a can ready to go for, the rest of the season. But I'm willing to bet your numbers, they'll go up. But they will come drastically down. And then they may go up for the finale. I just don't see the allure anymore, especially with the editing. So let's talk about the winners and the losers here. We've got a bottom 2. I'm going to say I already called it. And y'all already know. I'm watching this. Look, I've been doing this a long time, not just here on the show. I've been a Lego fan for a long time, and I can tell you, me not being a giant mock builder, but I can tell you when something is not going to do very good with people. Carrie and Patrick, the elders, their build was not very good. They got politely hammered by the judges. Politely hammered. I'm assuming that has to do with age. And then you have Aziza and Eddie. Again, their build, like I said, the white and the pink, get out. It did not work. You have light up eyes. You had nothing else. What are people supposed to take from that? How are people supposed to take that and be like, you know what? This is a great build. This is so cool. The judges are looking at it like, Nope. And that was it. The top two. Emily and Liam. Emily and Liam, huh? All right. Okay. According to Amy, she said the build was cinematic. It was a nice cinematic take. You're right. They copied a scene directly from a movie. How is that original? Isn't that what this is supposed to be about? And then you had John and Xavier. And according to Jamie, he liked the chain reaction that happened. The chain reaction, which nobody else saw. Nobody else saw. You know why? Because the editing is crap. So let's talk about the bottom two again. Let me, if you've already watched it, great. If you have not, this is your spoiler alert. So if you have watched it, turn off for the next, 15 seconds. Aziza and Eddie went home. And they went home because their build was garbage. Carrie and Patrick, same thing. Could have happened. But the reason the first two went home, because the 15 seconds is already up, it just wasn't very good. And you can't come to Lego Masters bringing that, that D average. D average is not going to get you a degree, dude. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So final thoughts about this episode. I know it's been, you're all like, oh my God, he's been so negative. Look, the editing was really, really, really bad. It got really poor in season 2, especially as the season went on. It is really, really bad right now. It is almost unwatchable. You can fast forward through an hour episode, which is technically about 44 minutes of actual footage aside from commercials. And you could probably get through 44 minutes in about 15 minutes. You can go through and watch it. And I promise you, if you go through and you click through, you're not missing anything. You're not. You could probably break it down to almost 10 minutes of actual good stuff. Oh, they're showing their builds. They're talking to Will. Fine, Will. Everybody already knows your shtick, dude. This isn't new. Amy and Jamie, they come in and give their comments. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, we like your build. Hey, did you think about doing this? It's the same repetitive thing over and over. There's no adjustment. There's no change because Amy and Jamie are who they are. And they're going to give you the same thing over and over. Their voice doesn't change. Their mood doesn't change. Will, same thing. He's a production guy. He may be one of those people that's like, you know what? Nope, I didn't like that. Let's do another take. Because if you're not familiar, this is very, very, very rehearsed. I've had an opportunity to talk to almost all of the Lego Masters contestants from season 1 and season 2. And they all say something very similar about the rehearsal and the take didn't work and I have to do it again. I have to put on a different face. I have to say something in a different dramatic tone or I have to be more peppy. And that's TV. You just gobble it in. That's fine. But that's TV. But to me, the production value has to change. If you expect this show to continue to improve or to continue to go on here in the United States, you need to pull in a better audience with better editing. Right now, AFOLs aren't watching this. Big Lego adults are not watching this. You know who's watching this? Some people with their kids. Again, 1.4 is really, really bad. In that time slot, it is even really, really bad. And the last thing that I wanted to touch on, is it Lego Masters US or is it Lego Masters North America? And here's why I bring that up. There are at least 6 Canadians on the show. Awesome. Great. Rebrand it. You have Michelle and Christina who have a very big heritage to Mexico, a very big following on their social medias to Mexico. Why would you not brand it in a way that they could use it to help the show? I don't know. I really, really don't know. And I had an opportunity to talk to Michelle in Chicago Brick World. Michelle's a genuine lady. She is. She's as real as her TikToks, her Instagrams, whatever. She's as real as that. I don't know how she is on Fox with this show because they want you to be peppy and over the top. But right now, Fox is striking, but their batting average is a big fat 0. So something has to change. Anyway, next week they have the Bucking Bronco Challenge, which Will Arnett teased. And that ought to be interesting because there's definitely a movement factor there where they're going to have to make a build that doesn't break apart. It's essentially what it becomes down to. If you think about it, it was, last season? Was it last season? Or 2 seasons ago, they had the skyscraper challenge where, it was put on a vibrating board and it couldn't break apart. This one, it looks like it's more going to be, something that spins in a circle. Okay, fine. Awesome. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you took something from it. I hope you really thought logically about it. And, again, it just comes down to I need to see better production value. I don't need to see all this silly effects. I need to see the builds. And me trying to pause in between your effects, Fox and Domo Shine, having to try and pause in between those is absurd because I get like a really bad split screen between 2 frames. It's not good. That needs fixed. With that in mind, we do have exit interviews that are coming to you with myself and a few others. And I'm going to share those with you guys. And if you have any questions at the end of an episode where you're like, what happened to, or why did such and such, you can hit me up on social media or thebricksking@gmail.com and ask me those questions. And if I have an opportunity to squeeze them into the interview with the most recent eliminatees, I will do so with my fellow awesome interviewers. So until we meet again, I'm your minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it.